to the entertainment Talking Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another video, and in this video I'm going to talk about the big story that came out yesterday with the New York Giants' biggest rival, or second biggest rival, the Dallas Cowboys, and the contract that they signed Andy Dalton to, which is reportedly worth $3 million, which could be worth $7 million if given incentives. And I'll give my opinion at the end of this video after I go through all the notes and what some of the things that the Dallas Cowboys, Ian Rappaport, and everybody else had to say about the signing. But before I get into it, let me just say this. The Dallas Cowboys are going to try to do anything they can to, break away from any kind of controversy regarding Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, of course, and the Dallas Cowboys have not been able to come to an agreement on a long-term contract now for 2 years. And many will question, well, why is that? Do they believe in Dak? The Rams were able to sign Goff to an extension 2 years ago. They got it done. The Eagles were able to sign Wentz to an extension 2 years ago. They got it done. They were never bringing in these super experienced quarterbacks once they became established. Of course, they had Foles, but that was before Wentz took off. They then let Foles walk, and they gave Wentz his money. The same could be said for Goff. You never saw the Rams bringing in an experienced quarterback. Andy Dalton has never been on the bench a day in his life. He's been to the playoffs 3 or 4 times with one of the worst organizations in football and has proven, if given the right foundation, can win football games. And I think this is a great move by the Dallas Cowboys. They get themselves a good quarterback at a pretty good price. Now, what is the reason for Andy Dalton to come here? Well, what they will tell you is he's from Texas, and that very well may be the reason. May want to go back home, but at the end of the day, this is a business. Andy Dalton's still only going to be 33 years old next year, well, that's not, the youngest guy in the world. He's still, got 5-6 years left in him if he could prove he could still be a quarterback in the NFL and play at a pretty high level if given the right support system. You see guys like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Eli Manning was close to 40, Ben Roethlisberger's close to 40, Phillip Rivers still playing. Quarterbacks play longer than ever before. And if you don't think Andy Dalton thinks that this could potentially be a situation where he could really succeed if given the opportunity and it will help him get a big contract, not necessarily with the Cowboys, but with somebody else, you're fooling yourself. Teddy Bridgewater did it last year with the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints had a very similar support system to that of which the Dallas Cowboys would provide. Drew Brees goes down with an injury. Bridgewater steps in for 5 games. I think he went 5-0. Played very well in a great support system. Great offensive line, great defense, great running game, and he thrived in large part due to that. He ended up striking a $63 million deal over 3 years. Teddy Bridgewater would have never been given that contract had he not been put in the right situation. Could Andy Dalton view the Dallas Cowboys as that right situation if given the opportunity, especially being that Dak Prescott continues to hold out? You could certainly argue it. That's for sure. But let's jump into some of the things that was said yesterday regarding Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys and the contract situation. And, of course, Cowboys fans are going to buy into this. They don't want to panic. And like I said, it may very well be the truth. Ian Rappaport, interesting signing to secure a top backup. But before anyone asks, the Cowboys sources says this has nothing to do with Dak Prescott. Nothing to do with it. This is just about Dalton wanting to be back in Dallas and the Cowboys wanting a strong option in case of injury. Simple. And you could argue that, and that makes a lot of sense. The Cowboys are still a team trying to compete, and in my opinion, a team that with Andy Dalton could win probably close to as many football games as they could with Dak Prescott. This is a team with a great support system. Andy Dalton has proven to be a 10-11 game-winning quarterback with the Cincinnati Bengals when he had the right support system. Of course, he's not 26 anymore, and he's probably not the same quarterback, but with a great support system like Dallas on offense, and you could argue it might be the best in the league when you factor in how strong that offensive line is. We'll see how they perform without Frederick and the weapons that they have. Obviously, with Zeke, they add CeeDee Lamb. They bring back Amari Cooper. Gallup, they have a lot of weapons there. I do think Dalton could step in and thrive there, and the Cowboys may be looking at it and say, well, we're only going to have to pay this guy $7 million, even if he hits his incentives, and we could still win football games if Prescott holds out. Of course, you always bring in a guy. It's always nice to have a good backup, especially when your team trying to compete for a Super Bowl. Philadelphia Eagles are a perfect example of that. But when you have a franchise quarterback that still hasn't signed to a long-term extension, which most people expect Dak Prescott to be, it is going to raise eyebrows and bring questions as to why you're doing this. Like I said, you didn't see the Rams do this. You didn't see the Eagles do this. You don't really see any team do this. The Redskins did this. The Redskins held out, and Kirk Cousins is no longer there. Are the Cowboys doing the same thing? Are they playing hardball with Dak Prescott, or will they eventually come to an agreement before the year starts? And there is no doubt in my mind that the Dallas Cowboys are trying to create leverage here with this move. They know that if Dak Prescott is smart, he realizes, listen, I'm better than Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton could come here and win games. And if he wins games, I have no leverage whatsoever. I went 8-8 last year. If Dalton comes in here and we go 10-6, 11-5, make the playoffs, I might be without a job. Not just with the Dallas Cowboys, but in the NFL in general, because what people will say is, well, yeah, you put up numbers, you won games, but so did Andy Dalton, a guy that was thought to be a cast-off, a guy that the Cincinnati Bengals didn't even want as a mentor for their rookie quarterback. So the Bengals didn't keep him because they feel they have a future franchise quarterback with Joe Burrow. The Dallas Cowboys brought Dalton in. So it's definitely going to bring some questions to the quarterback position there. Of course, like I said earlier, Dak Prescott was given the franchise tag, the exclusive franchise tag, expected to be worth between $30 and $33 million, which will chew into the team's roughly $79 million in salary cap entering free agency. And I think it worked out to be about 31, which he is yet to sign. Dak Prescott is currently a free agent and hasn't signed the franchise tag. And although he's expected to be in the fold well before week 1, if Prescott and the Cowboys can't come to terms, Dalton gives them a plausible starter. Assuming Prescott does sign, Dalton would be his backup. And that's obvious. Dalton, who grew up in Texas and played in college at TCU, is signing a 1-year deal with the Cowboys. PFT has confirmed. Adam Schefter of ESPN reports that the deal guarantees Dalton $3 million and gives him the opportunity to make upwards of $7 million if he hits his incentives. And here's my question. Andy Dalton, to me, could have gotten a lot more than $3 million because that's all this is worth. That's all this is worth. At the end of the day, this guy, yeah, he's not great, but he's still a solid NFL quarterback. He is definitely a guy that could come in and play well given the opportunity. The Giants, I think, paid Colt McCoy close to this. He could have gotten at least $5, $6, $7 million guaranteed. Could he have done it because he wanted to go back to Dallas? It's very possible. Do I think that's the only reason? Absolutely not. And some may say, well, he's not going to get an opportunity to start. Probably not, but are you telling me there isn't a team with a young quarterback that would have given him an opportunity to at least mentor that quarterback? I don't necessarily agree with that. You look at a team like the Denver Broncos. Could he have made sense there? Could he have made more money there? Now, I don't know the cap situation, but I'm sure there was a situation, the Jaguars, who just got rid of Nick Foles, I'm sure there was a situation somewhere where he could have at least competed to be a starter day one. In my opinion, at least part of the reason why he's doing this is because he thinks it's possible Dak could hold out, and even if he doesn't, he views this as an opportunity if Dak were to ever get injured. Or if Dak ever played poorly, they have a guy that could step in and play well. And if he plays well, he could strike it big like Teddy Bridgewater did with the New Orleans Saints elsewhere or with the Dallas Cowboys. Regardless of what any Cowboys fan says, if Dak Prescott is not signed to a multi-year contract before the year starts, this added unnecessary pressure to their quarterback. Make no mistakes about it. It's the same mistake the Jets made with Mark Sanchez. Now, I'm not comparing Mark Sanchez to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has proven himself to be an above-average quarterback in the NFL, or at least, slightly above average, in my opinion. Mark Sanchez was never that, but the Jets put unnecessary pressure on Sanchez, who was coming off 2 straight AFC title appearances, and it ruined his career. Not to say he would have had a career, we'll never know. But why would the Cowboys do this? The reason the Cowboys are doing this is to create leverage. They know that Dak Prescott now, if he's being completely honest with himself, can't hold out. And if he does hold out, well, he runs the risk of being thought as a guy that was a product of the system, more so than the quarterback elevating the team. If Andy Dalton goes in there and wins 10 or 11 games, coming off a year in which they won 8. If you have a franchise quarterback, you don't normally play games. To me, the Dallas Cowboys may think that they could have a franchise quarterback, but they don't fully believe in him, like the Rams did with Goff. Or several other teams that I mentioned. They're still playing a wait-and-see approach. And I get why Dak Prescott may be upset with that. He's done nothing but win since he's entered the NFL. But I don't think they just signed Andy Dalton because he was comfortable with the zip code in Dallas. I think they did this at least partially to create leverage. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But as a New York Giant fan, I love the drama in Dallas. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.